Greetings, everyone. This is Payment Lawrence, the host, your friend, the coach. Today, I'm talking with another wonderful, dear guest, the one and only Minnie Crofts. We connected to our dear common friend James Dakin, and James has been singing your praises for I would say a few weeks. He was telling me all the time, "You need to talk to Minnie. You need to talk to Minnie." He said, "Okay, say no more. Just connect me," and finally connected me with a chat a few weeks ago. And from the get go, we got along really well. And I discovered a few things that we have in common. First one is that we almost have the same birthday. She's October 16, I'm October 17. So that right away got us a beautiful way to start. And then just like me, she's been a globetrotter living in many places so far. She's currently, first of all, based in the UK in tropical, sexy Bath, however you call it. And she's lived in
Oh,
Denmark, traveled around in Peru, of course, lived in Paris as well, and grew up in Mallorca, Spain. So she's been around. She's a woman of the world, just like me, a man of the world. We love exploring the world. And yeah, that really started the conversation in a beautiful way. And then she also, as she's currently a student, she studies politics, political student in university. I asked her if she has any intention, any plans to run for office? He said, absolutely not. But hey, who knows? Maybe that can change when the time comes. And she also has a blog, The Feminine Urge, and where she's been creating a space where femininity is celebrated. And she's also co-hosting and running a podcast with my dear friend James Dakin, the Unlearning Generation. We're going to talk about that. And a lot of other things that we'll unpack in this talk. And I asked her before going live, how would you describe yourself with one sentence? And she said the most beautiful thing, the most liberate thing to say, and that is that how we can make a better world with balance, love, emotion, and emotional literacy. So lovely, I love that. So yeah, so a lot of things that we will be unpacking. Very excited and looking forward for this episode. But so Minnie, my friend, welcome to the show.
thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Payman.
Pleasure.
And James is equally singing your praises to me.
Thank you.
So I'm very grateful he connected us.
Hey, who knows? Maybe by the end of the show, we'll be singing praises together, you know? But this time of James and whatever. Anyways, so tell us, we're gonna talk about you throughout this podcast. But first and foremost, we're gonna talk about your business, your impact, and all that in a moment. But for people who don't know you, tell us, who's Minnie first and foremost, as a human being and as a woman?
That's a lovely question.
Thank you.
Uh, okay, well, I would definitely describe myself as loving. I think that is the word that always comes to mind. Um, I truly believe in love, really, putting it out into the world. And in that, I study international politics with French, going on to a master's in international relations with gender politics. Um, and the aim is to use that quality of love in my studies to pursue a better world. I truly am an idealist, I would say. Um, so I believe we can make improvements. I also run my own blog, as you said, The Feminine Urge, and I suppose that is the incarnation of my passions at the moment. I love writing, and it comes very fluidly. I speak about emotional literacy. I speak about the interdependence between the system, the ideologies that we look up to at the moment through technology, through what we've learned from the past generation, and how they influence our identities, how we feel. Because it is all connected, our economic system is connected to the way we look after ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very interesting. We're going to unpack all of that in a moment. But first and foremost, I'd like to ask you, to start with a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
Ooh, hey,
All right. What makes you
yes,
happy?
writing.
What makes you smile?
My friends.
Now let's take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes your heart sing? What sets your soul on fire?
Oh. Um, Seeing people change patterns.
Okay. Now, what scares you?
Mm, Feeling powerless.
Yes, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Now,
Mm.
what makes you sad and angry?
Seeing myself powerless yet again,
Mm,
or seeing people in my life feel that way.
yes, I'm with you on that. Now, what would you say is your number one personal superpower?
I would have to go back to that being loving. Um, it goes into every facet of my life. But I make a lot of mistakes in doing it.
They're not mistakes, they're lessons.
True.
You either learn or you earn. Both ways you win. So, anyways, love that. Now, what is one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, Probably competition.
Expand on that,
Um,
please.
I was an extremely academic kid, and I absolutely adore academia, hence going on to the masters. But I felt the need to make sure that I was doing well in the rankings, make sure you're top of the class, blah, blah, blah. And it's just not something I subscribe to anymore.
Mm,
It's it's completely useless. And I also would say in that um, busyness, that competition of busyness, that competition of stress, oh, I'm the most stressed, I'm the most busy. No, none of that. I need my rest.
oh,
And I have my hobbies. So they are a big part of my life as well as all the work I do.
beautiful. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, what is one thing that you did not value that now you're valuing more and more?
Ooh, um, honesty,
Mm,
definitely. I think I grew up protecting people's feelings
mm.
or believing that protecting their feelings was something I was allowed to do through white lies. Really, that's just controlling their reaction. Um, and now I would say I live by pretty brutal honesty. Um, that's how you make more meaningful relationships.
I'm completely with you because I had the exact same issue as well. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
What similarities?
Yeah. When was the last time you had those kind of incredibly deep laughter, the type that makes you literally cry, your cheeks are hurting, your stomach is hurting, you're even literally rolling on the floor?
Um, that would definitely be with two of my closest friends. We do so much together. We always go for coffees, for breakfasts, especially after a night out, perhaps. And it was hearing one of my friends retell one of his quite funny stories of the night.
Mhm.
Um, and I sat there at breakfast crying with laughter.
Basically like a rainbow.
Exactly.
It rains while it's still sunny, you know?
Yeah, that's a sweet way of looking at it. Good metaphor.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, let's move on. You
Mhm.
enjoy traveling, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And I'm sure we can do an entire, not just episode, but an entire podcast just on traveling. But we may do that in the future. But for now, I'd like to take you down a different type of traveling, down memory lane. Go back to when you were growing up as a kid. You know, when we're kids, people around us, friends, families, relatives, teachers, neighbors always ask us, "Hey, Minnie, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What was your answer to that as a little girl?
Oh goodness, I was convinced that I would be a DJ chef.
Wait,
Um,
what? A DJ chef cooking while spinning music?
oh yeah, the frying pans work both ways.
Holy,
I had my own little pink headset with the little iPod switch that I would attach to my belt, and I would walk around listening to 11 songs on repeat um, while I made my cereal in the morning. And I thought, well, this is clearly it.
what was the first song in that list?
Oh, it was Baby by Justin Bieber. I was 7.
Okay, forgive it because of that. Okay. Now, as of today, if you were to upload a new 11 playlist, what would be the first song and why?
Oh, good question. It would be um Glimpse by Vreli.
And why?
It is a multifaceted song.
Mhm.
It can be listened to while you're sitting on a bus, staring out the window, considering all your life choices. It can be listened to while you are studying late at night, and while you're walking on a sunny day.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, let's go back to when you're growing up.
Mhm.
What was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
I loved school,
Mhm.
for the learning. Learning has always been one of my biggest passions, and I knew what I was interested in and I knew what I wasn't. English literature caught me, reading and reading.
Mhm.
Science and maths definitely weren't my thing, still aren't. But I really loved learning, and I was lucky to go to some really amazing schools where I got the opportunity to learn a lot, with supportive teachers. Um, I definitely got more shy of going to school though as I got older. It wasn't always the best experience socially, and therefore I think the learning was a good crutch in a way, as well as the sport.
So we're into sports?
Hugely, I was an endurance runner for a long
Oh,
time, and I was doing all sorts of competitions, things like that. I've had a few injuries, so slowly trying to get back to it.
yeah. So you're competitive not only academically, but also athletically.
Yes.
Good, 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 good. Awesome. Now, imagine that we were in the same class, say around grade 10 or grade 11. What kind of student were you back then? Were you more like the shy one, the quiet one, the nerdy one, the life of the party, the chatterbox, the superstar? Who were you back
Uh,
then?
I held a role at my school,
Mhm.
which meant I was effectively the student leader of the school, alongside another boy in my year. And I definitely tried my best to embody it. I could definitely be a bit bossy at times, I'm sure. But I really genuinely tried my best to connect with all the different year groups. So I'd say I was quite social, despite being shy, if that makes sense. I always found it really nerve-wracking to do the speeches and the meetings, but I pushed myself every time to do it because I I really wanted to embody that role. I wanted to be her. Um, so it was a good challenge for me.
Yeah, I can see that. Did you say that you were bossy?
Bossy, not the right word.
Me, wait a
Uh,
second. Bossy Libra? Isn't that an oxymoron? I'm just
true, but
teasing.
also an older sister.
Yeah,
It was
like a Libra.
ingrained.
Yeah. Mhm. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, you mentioned boys. Speaking of boys, were you popular with boys in school?
Oh, I implemented a vegetarian day at school as part of a sustainability plan, which definitely did not make me popular with the boys who just wanted to eat a lot of chicken. Um, but I would say in the later years, yeah, I have a lot of lovely guy friends from my
Okay.
sixth form, my college.
Cool. Awesome. Now, that could be an entire podcast just by itself, but we're not going to go there. Okay. We're going to keep this kosher. Anyways, this is still the early in the day. All right. Now, what was your very first job? And do you remember how much you get paid the first time you worked?
I worked at a farm shop near my house, and goodness, I must have been paid something like I think it was £5.35 an hour.
Okay.
Uh, every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. until 1:30. And I loved it. It was a really sweet community. The only problem was it was freezing cold. All the doors were open all the time. I couldn't stand it. I'm not good with the cold at all, despite the Danish genes. So that was the only problem, but otherwise it was so sweet. I was working with the loveliest people. It was a
Nice,
good job.
nice, nice. And don't worry about the not being used to the cold. Me as a Canadian, after 30 years in Canada, I'm still not, I don't think I'll ever get used to the cold. So don't worry.
Exactly. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. I'm a tropical, I wouldn't say tropical flower, but tropical palm tree. And I'm sure you can relate to that as a tropical flower yourself.
I love that. Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, let's move forward. How would you describe your path from the moment you left school to now? Well, you're still in school, but especially for you when it came to selecting your major, did you have one thing in mind and just stick to it, or were you the kind of person that was switching major every week?
Well, okay. I would suppose it would actually have started when I was 15.
Mhm.
My grandmother passed away, and I was sat at her funeral or the dinner after her funeral, with one of my distant cousins. And she told me her story of how she makes change in the world. She does
Mhm.
advocacy and she works with UNICEF. And I just thought that was incredible. All of a sudden it clicked, and I went, oh my God, okay, that's what I need to do. I need to find a way to make change. Um, so then I went on the path of law, as we've spoken about, so nearly taking that path. Um, I was signed up for the LNAT, the exam to get into law school. And I was really determined about being a human rights lawyer. And then a lady in the careers office at my school told me, no, 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 you will also have to learn about all the other parts of law. Rights will only be one term. You'll also have to learn business law. And I thought, oh God, okay, no, it's none of that. So I switched over to international politics and French. The international politics because it felt like the clearest route
Mhm.
to making that change. I have never been particularly interested in, the specifics of first past the post and things like that, or the electoral system. But I was always interested in the ideologies at play and the cultures that persist through this trickle-down system of politics. Um, so it was definitely the right path for me. And in terms of the French, I grew up speaking Spanish. So French felt like an obvious option if I wanted to make global change.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Well, French has been the language of diplomacy since uh, eons, you know?
Yeah.
So awesome, awesome, cool. Now, there's a saying that says, change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean what the tellers have never had. So when you were at your lowest, darkest, phase of your life. How did you change your story internally to change your reality and your story externally?
I was at my lowest at an age where I didn't know how to change my story.
Mm,
Um, I had gone into my first relationship, unaware of the values of the person that I was with.
mm,
And unfortunately, by the end of that relationship, I was sat in a police station explaining what had happened to me.
wow.
Um, I didn't know the consequences at the time. I didn't really understand. I was 17 years old. And after that, there was a lot of loneliness. I was really lonely. I didn't understand why that happened to me. I didn't understand why I was feeling like that, and I had no idea how to fix it. No, I was 18 by that point, and no 18-year-old knows how to do anything about that. And I just went on. I went to university, and then in my second year, I realized, no, this isn't right. Life is meant to be Technicolor, and this is all grey.
Mm,
Um, so I would say that was probably the moment, but it took almost 3 years to happen. Um, and I would say what happened was I simply switched from that victim mentality, despite the fact that I still am a victim, to being my own hero. I had to be proactive. I had to make a choice because it's still my life. Um, yeah, and I say I still take that on now. I still choose, okay, something has happened in my life that I can't control. What's
mm,
my response to this? How do I respond, not react?
okay. Something fascinating. So now you mentioned some powerful things. So what happened that had you sitting in that police station? Tell us more.
So I went to school with this person, and it steadily got worse. It started with emotional abuse and then continued into sexual and physical abuse.
So one second,
Uh,
1 second. That person, is that a schoolmate? Is it a past boyfriend,
he
family
he was
member?
my first boyfriend,
Okay, okay,
uh, but also was a student at my school.
okay, okay.
And I broke up with him. I asked another girl in my year about the events, about I explained to her some stories of what happened, and she said to me, Minnie, that's rape and
Wow.
that's abuse. Um, and I think at the time during the relationship, I was in such a weak place that I I couldn't recognize that, or I didn't want to recognize it. I remember thinking it just after some of the events, but I put it out of my head because I went, surely someone who's my boyfriend, that can't be true. He wouldn't hurt me. Um, anyway, by the end, I went to this girl and I realized everything that had happened, and it was a big shock. I was terrified and still going to school with him every day. And also, I was doing my A levels at the time, which are a lot of work, and trying to keep up a social life, trying to do everything I could. So I just kind of shut it out. We had summer coming up, and I thought, well, I'm not going to see him for 2 months. I'll heal. I'll heal in 2 months. We came back in September. It was awful. I was crying every day. He was sending me threats, and Then he started seeing a girl in the year below, and she came to me, and some of her friends came to me. And that's when I knew I needed to do something, not only for myself because it was unbearable, but also because this girl was not okay.
So wait,
Um,
these that girl and their friends came to you because it was doing the same thing to them?
Actually, let me specify. So the girl, I didn't know her, but I knew they were dating in some manner. She came and grabbed me from the lunch hall and took me upstairs to the girls' bathroom and cried about some horrible things he'd said to her. Um, I was not surprised that he'd acted that way, but I was distraught for her that she was going through
Mm.
it. And I also felt responsible. I felt really responsible. I was the year above her, and I by then understood what had happened to me, and I didn't want the same for her. Um, Her friends talked to me briefly, but it wasn't the main event. The main event was her coming to me. Her friends eventually went to the school after I did. I went to the school, I explained what happened. That wound me up in the police station because obviously the school couldn't keep this hidden.
Sure.
And I explained everything to the police. Um, I decided not to press charges because, like I said, I was trying to balance school and a social life, and the idea of having to go through months or even years of a court case that might not even amount to anything
Yeah.
was horrific. And equally, I also had empathy for him. I didn't
Um,
want to ruin his life, which is something that so many people who go through something like this, or even anything, they go, oh, but I don't want to, I don't want them to get hurt. Um, and now it would probably be a different story, but I
sure.
had to just move on with my own life. Um, so then eventually he wasn't able to get expelled because I didn't follow through with legal action. But this girl's friends finally went to the school and they got him expelled. And I was very grateful for that because it meant I didn't need to see him every day.
Sure. Has this guy learned from it and improved and changed his ways?
I have no idea. We have no contact. I have not seen him since, thankfully.
Well, let's hope he has, because for his own sake.
I really hope so.
Yeah. Wow. So how were you able to go through that? Did you share that with people around you, family, friends? Did you have like what was your support group basically? And how did you, because we all need people to support us, to tell us what to do. And because when we go through things like that, our mind, our brain literally shuts down. We can't function properly. And with other people who are not as involved, who can tell us exactly not tell us, but guide us in a way. So, what was your support group and how did you get yourself? How did you handle all of that? How did you get through all of it? Because it must be horrible for a 17, 18-year-old girl in school. You're just starting your life and you're going through all this crap. So, how did you handle that and manage it?
I had incredible friends.
Mm,
Um, no 18-year-old by this point should have to go through that, and no
mm,
one should should be even exposed to it. Um, they pushed me to be more open. I struggled with it because I felt like a dark cloud. I really felt like a dark cloud, and I didn't want to rain on them.
mm.
I was so aware of the effect it had had on me, and I didn't want to somehow infect them with my bad chance. Um, so I definitely held myself up a lot. I owe a lot of credit to myself. Um, but I wouldn't have been able to do what I did without the friends I had. They encouraged me to talk and they were there when I needed to cry. Um, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, remember what I said, one of the questions that changed my life, and it was also part of my TED talk was, doesn't matter what we go through life, if we were to look at everything, no matter how painful, or heartbreaking, or tragic the challenge may be, from the perspective of these two things. What was that trying to teach me? What was the lesson for me to learn to that? And I even learned the third way, and that is, what was that trying to tell me? So when you now, with the wisdom and all that, that you only overcome that, when you look at that very painful phase of your time, of your life, what was that trying to teach you? What was the lesson for me to learn to that? And what was that trying to tell you? If you look at this from that crap being literally your gold, because that's one thing I always say, your crap is your gold. Nothing happens to you, but for you. So what was the lesson for you to learn to that?
I think there were two things
Mm,
uh, that set me on the trajectory that I am on now. The first, as I said, I'm pursuing this master's and possibly a PhD in gender politics.
hmm
And to me, my study of gender, my feminism has never been simply human. I would say it is something that transcends
mm,
us. It is a balance. It is an energetic balance in the world. You know, the qualities that we embody through our empathy, through our anger, through our vulnerability, our strength, our power. You know, these show up differently for all of us. And systemically, we can see that history has been guided by values long mistaken for masculine, greed and aggressiveness. That is not masculine.
yeah,
But we have seen this power struggle for years. We have seen wars carried out for the sake of these qualities. Um, and obviously that history has shaped the present we live in now. You know, we still live in a world where these sort of, I would say, these corrupt, mistaken masculine values rule. And what I believe, and I think what I learned from that experience, um, was that we need a rebalance. We need to understand what healthy masculinity and femininity are. We need to understand that without pursuit, we we can't have empathy. Without endearment, we can't have power. You know, we need all of these qualities of humanity and of our world to work in combination. And it's part of the existential threat we are seeing right now in the climate crisis. You know, this climate crisis has been led by these mistaken values. So how do we get back there? Well, we need empathy, we need love, we need interdependence and connection. And that means bringing to the forefront of the human race those values and rebalancing to save our planet and save ourselves. So I think that's a very long-winded explanation for saying that I can see the cruelty that I experienced, but it is not it didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened in a world that has taught this young man that to protect himself, he needed to be aggressive. And that me as a young woman needed to be vulnerable and quiet about it. So it's about understanding
mhm,
those structural implications on how we grow up. The second thing leading on from that was emotional literacy. As a result of that, I
Yeah.
gained huge emotional literacy. I went through so many different emotions, and I'm still a work in progress. I'm 22. But that was exactly what it taught me in combination, for example, those values, greed, that comes from an emotion. The hunger for power comes from an emotion. So it's understanding those emotions and putting them in the right places, putting that energy where it can thrive.
Absolutely. Wow, powerful. Now, let's talk about some more uplifting and powerful things,
Good
which,
idea.
as a result of, everything, in life, you look at your life, all the events, they may be completely unrelated, but they all prepare you for the next one, for the next one, for the next chapter. So for
Mhm.
you, you mentioned that you have a blog, The Feminine Urge. Tell us more about that. What's the genesis of that, and why did you start that blog? And what's your vision with it?
So, um, that blog was started mainly because I was scared of doing it.
Oh, wow.
Um, I I love writing, as I said, and I've always written for myself, done lots of
Mm.
journaling, and I got to a point where it stopped needing to be insular. It stopped needing to be for myself, and actually, okay, what can I do? I'm so frustrated about the changes we need to see in the world. Why don't I be part of it?
Mhm.
Um, so I started this blog about 11 months ago now, and it is about, like I've said, that interconnection between our emotions, our identities, and the pressures at play from society, from what we see in the media, from the interactions we have.
Beautiful. How long you've been running this blog for?
I've been running it for around 10, 11 months. But I've been really lucky in seeing the effect it's had. Um, each blog starts with the feminine urge, effectively.
Mm,
So the feminine urge to keep everyone happy, or the feminine urge to be honest. My recent one was actually the masculine urge to act. And in a sense, what it's about is explaining what we can do better, or what I believe we can do better. Um, yeah.
beautiful. Now, you also starting a podcast with James. Tell us about the podcast. Podcast is
Yeah.
called The Unlearning Generation.
So I'm really excited about this. Yes, the unlearning generation. So this is happening because James spotted my blog. We chatted. We've done a couple of interviews together. And then we just realized that we have brilliant conversations. And we thought, why not tap into my generation, Gen Z? Um, this generation that is stuck in the crosshairs between the ideologies and the ideas that we've learned from our parents and the past generation, and the ones that we're seeing on social media, the ones that we are creating, this idea that mental health is just as important as physical health, for example.
Absolutely.
And fighting that battle between, okay, but I don't know, my dad has always told me I need to just tough it through, or actually, should I listen to this? So we're this generation, and the aim is to effectively encourage the unlearning
Mm,
of ideas that aren't benefiting us and that aren't going to benefit the next generation. This idea that we should prioritize just toughing it out rather than actually feeling what we need to feel. That is something that we all need to unlearn. I'm definitely still unlearning it every day. Um, so the aim is for us to be the generation that learns this before we become parents so that we can do something different.
Wow. So when is the podcast launching, or is it already launched?
We are in the process of planning, recording, doing all the setup. And then we're aiming for New Year's. We were
Okay.
thinking people are going to be on their podcast walks more in January. So it's the perfect time to launch. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting it started. We're going to be interviewing different people and encouraging different voices.
Mm. Do you also have a vision for your podcast, you and James, to eventually monetize it? By monetizing, I don't mean getting peanuts from, Apple and stuff, but actually getting clients to the podcast. Not only clients,
We
but also speaking engagements, book deals, and stuff like that.
Oh goodness, we would love that. I mean, James, as you know, has a book coming out soon.
Yes.
And I would love to be getting a book out in the next few years. I think that is absolutely the hope. I'm going to continue writing for my blog, continue just gaining a network,
Hmm.
uh, and creating what we can to get it out there. I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest aim. Obviously, monetizing it is something important, but getting it out there, getting that message through
Hmm.
is something I'm really excited about.
Yeah. And a podcast is going to be the most fantastic platform for you to open incredible doors, build incredible relationships, friendships, connections. Like, for example, for me, over the last 5 years, over 400 episodes, not only realizing one of my dreams of becoming an author, but not just an author, but a number one international best-selling author 4 times. And that opened the doors for a thriving international academy, as well as public speaking, TED Talk. And now James actually, I had a call with him on Monday. We talked about him getting me on his radio show.
Ah,
And,
brilliant.
and then who knows? There's no limit after that. So again, and speaking of a book, you know what's the fastest way? I know you love writing, but for people who are have you ever felt you're sitting on the computer, you're facing a blank screen like, and a blinking cursor, and you just completely go blank where to start, and you just sit and wait and waste minutes, hours on that first sentence,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
There's another way. The fastest way to publish a book without writing a single line is by simply speaking it. And here's what I mean. When I learned that the first time, it literally blew my mind. A 200-page book is about 60,000 words, roughly speaking. Now, one 30-minute podcast conversation is about 6,000 words.
Really? Wow.
Yes, yes. So
Oh,
you
we've
do
been
the
talking
math. As as long as so let's say you do one episode a week, for example, and they're about say half an hour. Guess
Mhm.
what? Within 2 to 3 months, you have enough content for a book. So the easiest way for you, the most lowest hanging fruit would be to simply transcribe the conversation. And that's something I would not recommend. A much better idea would be, let's say you have a specific topic. After 3 months of interviewing inspiring, empowering, uplifting guests on your show, you can write a book on the 10 lessons, the 5 lessons you learn after speaking with, say, amazing leaders on such and such topic. That could be an amazing book. Another would be, and this is what I've been doing as well, which is a multi-authored book. So you select a theme and you invite the guests from your podcast to each
Fantastic.
contribute a chapter around that theme. And guess what? The people that come on that book, they will and gladly pay to be in that book.
Really?
Yes, let me actually show you 2 examples. 1 second.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited.
I will introduce you to my first two borns. Volume one, published
Love that
on,
cover.
on September 30th. Thank you. September 30th, 2022. To
Mm.
celebrate 2 years and 200 episodes of my podcast. And the theme was, how are you making the world a better place? And 20 guests, I don't know if you can see it from my podcast, they all came and wrote a chapter around that. And each of them paid to be in the book, which led to my second baby, volume number two. This was published at the end of on January 31st of last year, 2024. The topic on this one was, what is your gift? And again, about 10 people came and wrote a chapter on that specific topic. And each of them, guess what? They paid $1,000 to $1,500 each.
Wow.
Because becoming a number one international best-selling author, that's a flex. That's something important. People use that in their online CV, so to speak, especially people want to get more opportunities for speaking engagements, TV, radios, bigger podcasts, and so on and so forth, or becoming or strengthening and solidifying their position as a leader, as an authority, as an expert in whatever field they're an expert in. So in that way, the podcast can be the fastest way to create this. I did not write that book. I wrote the intro, the forward. Sure, I wrote the chapters by myself. I wrote the conclusion. I wrote that little blurb at the top. But again, everything else, each person wrote it. Each person.
You must be so proud to see the culmination of your work in paper.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. That's why I introduced those as my first two borns.
Your first newborns.
Yeah. So again, this, when done the right way, a podcast will be the golden key to unlocking a world you didn't even knew exists. Because I definitely did not know nothing about all of this when I started on my path in podcasting 5 years ago.
So would you say that is the biggest thing you learned with creating your podcast?
It's not the biggest thing, but it's part of the thing that literally opened a new world for me. Beyond the financial blessings, I'm talking about the opportunities, the connection, the wonderful friendships, and and all of that. And ultimately, what it really the greatest blessing was for me to kill my shyness. I used to be incredibly painfully, extremely shy. The people that know me from before, they always ask me, what happened to you? Did you make a pact with the devil? Always speaking, going live and in a confident way, stepping in front of stages and in person around the world. What happened to you? I said, no, I didn't make a pact with the devil, never did and never will. I just find my purpose, my voice, my ikigai, ma raison d'etre, and so on and so forth. And once you find that, then you become the person you're meant to be. And once you reach that point, good luck shutting me up, because now when I talk, you can't shut me up.
That's the cure to shyness then.
Oh, big time. Absolutely. You want to kill your shyness? Start a podcast. I'm not joking.
No, I agree. I think often my writing is a good, it's a good mask. You
Yeah.
can you can write things down that you might not feel comfortable saying.
Yeah.
So I think starting this podcast is not only, like you said, going to open a lot of doors, but it's also going to teach me that, I'm going to be learning how to speak the things that I'm writing.
Absolutely. Podcasting is phenomenally powerful, not just for your business, but even more importantly, for you as a person.
Mm.
It's going to benefit you in many ways. For example, you mentioned writing better, and I would add to that. It's going to allow you to become a better, not only speaker, better communicator, better listener, more charismatic. Because as you keep on doing those amazing interviews, you will learn from so many experts. It's going to be literally on Harvard education for free with actual world-class experts, not in a theory, but in actual real life. And most importantly, you learn. I personally have been learning so much through the experts I've been showcasing on my podcast for the last 5 years, but most importantly, learning about things I didn't even knew existed. Like recently, I had a woman from the US lives in Greece. She's a pet for senior dogs. I didn't know that even existed.
Wow.
A pet for senior dogs, like dogs that are just in the later stages of their lives. I had no idea that even existed. I was blown
Geriatric
away.
vet.
Sorry?
Geriatric vet.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. But yeah. So again, but even more so, before releasing every episode, I watched again all episodes, and I can't tell you how many times, Minnie, I caught myself saying, wait a second, did I really say that? Something within a conversation, you get in the zone. It's almost as if information is being channeled through you. I would not say some of the things I say on a podcast in my normal life. Because when you get in a conversation, you get in the zone. Information is literally being channeled through you to your higher self.
Yeah.
So, and you learn again, not only about the world, about things you didn't know existed, but most importantly, you get to you learn yourself at a much deeper level. So the podcast has been, as I mentioned before, not only a game changer, it transformed and changed my life, but even in some ways saved it literally, as you know my story. So
Are
yeah,
you are you ever shocked by things that come out of your mouth? All of a
oh,
sudden, you said something
absolutely,
that's really
absolutely,
vulnerable. You go, oh my
absolutely, absolutely. Like I had not shared the part of me that I was literally almost penniless for a year in Hong Kong, living on $20 a week. My family, my relatives didn't know that. Because in my background, my culture, I'm supposed as eldest son to be the leader of the family, responsible, making sure my paying the mortgage, taking care of family, make sure my siblings go to school and all that. That was my job. And me,
God.
I couldn't mention that. I feel ashamed of that. But then I realized after speaking with amazing men and women from around the world that had gone through a billion times more heartbreaking things than me, people that lost it all and went to jail, people that had survived terminal diseases, stage 4 cancer, people that overcame and survived life altering accidents, becoming paraplegic. All of these beautiful souls telling me without hesitation, hey, just because you're going through some temporary, keyword being temporary, financial challenges, which is in my case, it's not a reason for you to give up. You're young, you're not stupid, you've done it before, you can do it again. So, again, that's how it saved my life. And that's how I've shared things about me that I certainly did not share with people in my personal life. Because sometimes you feel much more comfortable with people you don't know that the people that are close to you. I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yes.
So, oh, absolutely. Your podcast is going to be your ongoing PhD education. It's going to be your best therapy for yourself. I can't tell you how many times I get free coaching by talking to experts. Yes. And they gladly share it because guess what? It's gonna help them display their expertise. It's a win-win. It's not just take me, take, take. It's a win-win, you know? So yes. And I'm grateful for all these wonderful men and women that have imparted their knowledge, expertise with me for free on my podcast. Well, not for free, but you know what I mean, So oh, it's an incredible thing. So I'm really glad that, I wish I'd started podcasting when I was 22. You're an incredible, incredible advantage right now because you're surrounded with amazing leaders such as James. He's a phenomenal man, very accomplished, and other leaders as well. So make the most of it. You're
I
in a
will.
very blessed position right now.
I feel like I've learned so much from today's conversation.
I'm delighted to hear that. I'm delighted to hear that. So yeah, no, podcasting is a game changer, and especially as I mentioned, I have a upcoming event next week, 5 days, where I go deep into, hey, how you can leverage podcasting not only to build a business, not just a business, but a deeply impactful, really, really transformational and widely profitable business, which is simply based around your zone of genius. Your zone of genius is basically the crap that you have to overcome. That's why I always say your crap is your gold. And I will definitely have to put that in a t-shirt sooner than later. Your crap is your gold.
Can be the next book.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, it's I'm gonna be sharing that next week. Would love to have you with us and anyone listening to this. Maybe by the time the audience sees that is gonna be past, but I'm always running those classes every 6 weeks. Because again, I'm very outspoken with podcasting because podcasting has changed my life. So when I start a talk at a conference, I always start the same way. Everything I have in life, I owe to God, my family, and my podcast in that order. So that's why I'm very outspoken, very passionate about podcasting. Because
Mhm.
literally the reason I'm here today, physically in every way, shape, or form, is because of that. That little thing. Because again, you're just one conversation away from whatever you want. Whereas your next client, your next relationship, your next business, whatever you want, your next journey, just one conversation away. And by conversation, I mean real, deep, meaningful, authentic, hearted conversation, not shallow.
Yeah. It sounds like you also owe it to your own voice.
Oh, it's all about voice. Yes. My initial academy was called Leaders with a Voice.
Yeah.
Leaders with a
Wow.
heart, leaders with a voice, and it's all about the same thing.
What changed? Why voice the heart?
Well, it was hard since the beginning, but again, it's all about finding your voice. Just like me, I had to find my voice myself because I was, the number one thing that's stopping people is self-belief that, hey, who am I? Who's going to listen to me? I'm a nobody. My story doesn't matter. Even for me, it was even worse because I had zero self-esteem, a big nose, no hair. Who else going to listen to me? But then I realized it's not about you. It's about your message, your gifts. And what do I mean by gift? By gift, I mean we all go through our fair share of pain, trauma, abuse, tragedy, disease, and all that painful things. Yes, it's very painful when you go to that. But then guess what? They become your story. And then your
Mm,
story becomes your gifts. And ultimately, your gifts become your duty and responsibility to share them. First, embrace them loud and proud, and then share them even loud and prouder around you and around the world. So whatever it means is more natural for you. For me, it's to speaking and writing my books. For you, it might be to, again, as well, speaking and writing. Someone else might be to dancing, singing, painting, sports, acting. Find your outlet and share your genius, share your zone of genius through your outlet. And the best thing to share is simply what crap you had to go through and how did you overcome it. Just
mm,
share your story, how you did it. Because again, when someone is looking to spend a few $1,000s, pounds, or euros with a coach, they're not looking for a disconnected billionaire. What they're looking for is someone that they can relate with, identify with, resonate with. Essentially, they're looking for a big brother, big sister saying, hold my hand, I've been in your shoes. Together, we can get out of it. That's what people want. Someone that is just a few steps ahead of them, one, two, three, four steps ahead of them. Someone that they can really identify. Basically, they're looking for the version of themselves of just a few steps ago. And your job, Minnie, is not another major insight that has been transformational for me was to realize that my message is not meant for the world. Your message, Minnie, is not meant for the world, and that's beyond okay. Your message is meant for your world. My message is not meant for my world. What do I mean by that? I mean that my message is meant for my payments. Your message is meant for your minis. Jem's message is meant for his gems. Meaning, the version of you that's just a few steps ago. Build your business, build your messaging, everything you do the way you wished existed when you were starting. What did you wish was there when you were at the lowest? Who did you wish was there to say, hold my hand, I've been in your shoes, and together we can get out of it? That's it. Once I understood that, things changed. Does it make
mm.
sense?
This was absolutely not what I expected when I wanted to be the DJ chef, obviously. Um, but you're right, absolutely. The younger versions of ourselves would
Yeah.
be looking fondly upon what we're doing now.
Like, for example, if you want to share your gifts, what you learned to this very painful phase of your life that you had to go through personal and sexual abuse through that former boyfriend of yours, share those gifts, that message with other young girls that may be going through that currently. What did you wish was there when you were 17, 18, going to that hell? What did you wish was there? That's it. That's the ultimate question. Build your messaging, your offer, your business for you, for that version of you, and you're golden.
That's such a lovely way of putting it because I think as I expect you can relate you can relate to this, I'm sure. It's a lonely time when you are at that low point. And we have that very human ability to go, oh, no one else understands. It's why is it happening to me? All of that. And now this is actually the best justice you can do to yourself
Yeah.
to be the person that understands.
Yeah.
And like you said, be the person who could have been holding your hand at that time.
That's it. Because again, sure, we all understand life is a school. We come here to learn, become better, wiser, and all that. But that's only 5% of what we are here for. The 95% is take those gifts, those wisdoms, those, lessons and share them with people who are currently going through it because ultimately we are here to uplift each other in whatever means that you can. That's, at least from my humble understanding, that's one of the main reasons we are here for. Not just to accumulate crap and climb the corporate ladder and all that, no. But to help each other. And by helping each other, inspiring each other, ultimately we can create a better world. It's not the government's job to create a better world. Unfortunately, it's our job, 1% at a time, each of us individually, and then collectively we can create a better world together that way.
The web of interconnected.
Absolutely, absolutely. Beautiful. Let's start to wrap things up. Love this conversation. I'm sure we can do a second part to dig deeper into some of those chapters you mentioned, but we'll do that another time. To finish off, I'd like to ask you another series of rapid fire questions. Ready? All right.
Yeah.
And this one is going to be about advices. So, what has been so far the best piece of advice you received in your life?
Um, to stay present.
Oh, I love that. What about the worst?
Um,
Other than get a job.
to to protect people's feelings over being honest.
Yes, 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 yes. Imagine that you've been blessed with a time machine and you can go back in time and sit face to face with an 18-year-old Minnie. What's the number one piece of advice you want to give to her, knowing all that you know now?
That's a very good question. Um, find trust in yourself. I think I didn't even know you were allowed to trust yourself.
Because ultimately we have access to all the information, all the knowledge within us, you know? I'm sure you've heard of Akasha, right? It's like the universal Wi-Fi. There's Wi-Fi all around us.
Yes, yes.
We don't see it. All you do is just find a network and the password, you get access to all the World Wide Web of information around you. Well, the Akasha is the same thing. It's all around us. We don't see it. But you just need to connect with it, and you connect with it to it by simply reconnecting with your soul, whether it's through meditation, prayer, whatever. How can you access your higher self? How can you access the eternal and multidimensional knowledge, wisdom that is within you, within all of us, no matter how old or how young you may be?
Mm, mm,
Just
mm, mm.
reconnect with yourself. Listen to that voice, that gut feeling, that instinct, that voice in your head, that intuition. Always listen to that. Have you have you ever had that urge just walking on the roadside and all of a sudden you get that urge to just step one step to the left, and the moment you do that, there's a car or a bike just coming at you.
Intuition.
Are you driving on a highway? I said you get the urge to just switch lanes, and the moment you do, there's an accident on that lane.
Yeah.
That's it. So listen to that.
Mm.
Connect to that. And if you can manage to connect to that at will, then literally nothing is unachievable.
Listening to Higher Minnie and Higher Payment right now.
That's it. Being channeled to me, you know?
Yeah.
So awesome. Now, I know you have your podcast. Imagine from a year from now, your podcast is very successful. And today you're interviewing the most special person in the world. Can you guess who that is? Of course, it's not me, other than me.
The most special person in the world. If I could
Yes.
interview you mean.
Yes. The most special person for you.
Ooh.
Don't look too hard.
Hmm.
It's someone you know. It's a person that you know the most deeply in the world.
I'm assuming you mean myself.
You're a smart cookie. Yes. So imagine you're interviewing yourself. What's the
Hmm.
first question you want to ask yourself?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I'm
I
gonna
know,
steal that.
right?
You should
You're
be proud
welcome. Feel free to use it for your podcast as well. I'll send you that voice.
of that. Ooh. Ah, I would ask what oh, this is I would ask what is the thing you feel shame about?
And what's your answer? I can't let you ask that question, not answer it. You know that.
I knew
No
that
way.
was coming. Um, so I think just to preface, when I say that, I mean, that there are things that we feel guilt about and there are things that we feel shame about.
Hmm.
And obviously guilt is a much healthier form.
Yeah.
Um, but the things we feel shame about, I would argue, are the things that shape us most. Um, for me, like I said, it was that fear of powerlessness.
Hmm.
And I would say relinquishing
Mm.
power I had
Yeah.
at the time, or even, mistakes I've made in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Relinquishing actually the power I held. I've felt shame for that because obviously they are things I learned from. Um, and I can see that I needed to make those mistakes or those learnings.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that is what's created me now.
Yeah. Because you're the product of all the mistakes, all the lessons that you've made. And again, they're not mistakes, no matter how bad of a decision it may seem on the surface. If you look at them
Mhm.
beyond the surface and ask yourself, what was that trying to teach me? What is a lesson for me to learn to that? And what was that trying to tell me? Then you see it for what it is, a truly beautiful gift, you know? And the thing that you feel the most ashamed of, the thing that triggers you the most, the thing that evokes the most visceral reaction in you, guess what? That's your greatest gift. Does it make sense?
It does. It does. And there's a reason I asked that question. I've been listening to
Yeah.
you clearly.
Good. You're a smart cookie. You're a fast learner. I like that. Okay, now the last question I ask, and that's my favorite question to ask, and that is, what's the smallest thing you've done that's had the greatest, deepest, most profound, positive impact in both your life and business? For me, it's been starting my podcast. What about you, Minnie?
Hmm. Um, Having conversations that I don't think I would have had the guts to have,
Yeah.
uh, probably even last year.
Hmm.
And actually just literally putting my heart on the table,
Yeah.
um, to make the life I wanted.
Yeah.
Um, and that's made a massive impact in my life, has brought clarity over who are the people I love dearly, and the people who are my support system.
Hmm.
And in that, they have taught me so much. They have taught me so much that I bring into my writing, into what is going to be this podcast, into this interview today.
Mhm.
I can hear in a lot of my answers the lessons I've learned from those people that I've had conversations with after possibly I've hurt them or we've had complicated times. Yeah, having those conversations.
Beautiful. Love that, love that, love that. Always remember, you're just one conversation away from whatever you want. Seriously, I'm not joking. Now, if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
That would be through my blog. You can contact me through that. And it's ministella.com,
Okay.
uh, spelt MINNIESTELLA.com. And go there, contact me about anything, even if there's something you'd like to see me write about.
Okay. I found your blog. Wow. Very nice. I'll go through it as well. Listen, Minnie, absolute pleasure talking to you. Love your story, love your passion, love your drive, your vision, and all that. Keep shining your light, keep blessing the world, your presence, your impact, your gift, your smile. Always keep in mind you are yourself a beautiful gift, and that gift is meant to be shared loud and proud around and around the world. So stay safe, stay awesome. God bless you, and talk to you very soon, my friend. Take care.
Thank you so much, Payman. Thank you
Very
for
welcome.
creating this
Very welcome. And as I love to say, have a fantabulous rest of your day. Take care.
space. You too.
Take care. Bye bye.